Welcome back to the channel, This Garden Bliss. Today we will be talking about grass. Everybody loves grass, walking through grass, feeling the grass, but growing it and maintaining it is a total different story. I'd like to talk about what I do with my lawn. I overseed in the spring and overseed again in the fall. And in the spring I also put down a natural fertilizer and again in the fall as well. And you really can't do this in the hot summer days. It's not good for the grass. But as you can see, it's not perfect, but it certainly looks a lot better than it has over the years. It's really thickened up. It chokes out the weeds, chokes out the crabgrass. Here I am using a rechargeable battery lawnmower. No fumes, very easy to use. And then with a second battery, it's just go, go, go. Because our garden beds are round and circular in design, the lawn is as well, of course. So there's lots of little things that I've picked up over the years to accommodate all these nice curves. Not a straight line anywhere to be seen. This area used to be a big problem for growing the grass because it was in bright sunlight all day. But as the trees have grown, like the one coming up at the bottom of the driveway, it's provided much value shade. As well as the two big oak trees at the side, it's really helped in the development of the grass over the past 30 years. We've had those seasons of drought and dry grass and brown grass, but with the trees coming in, as you can see, it looks great. This is the grass seed blend that I use twice in the spring, once in the fall. It's a Kentucky bluegrass, fescue, and ryegrass blend. It really helps to overseed your lawn. I can't emphasize that enough. This is hen manure. Okay, that's a fancy word for chicken poop, but it's an excellent natural fertilizer, much better than using chemicals. I put it down twice in the spring, once in the fall, around the same time as overseeding, and it works wonders. I can't say enough about it. I've been using it for a couple of years now. Much better than the usual cattle or sheep manure. But of course, it's at a premium price. And it also comes in a 10-kilo bag for much larger applications. Now, let's be straight. It's not just hen manure. Grass seed, hen manure, all that has to be moistened and kept damp. The grass seeds, everything, including this product, so that everything works together before it dries out. You've got to get those seedlings started and germinated. Either before a storm that's coming that you see on the news, or hosing it down all the time. Got to keep those seedlings damp for germination. Now, there are certain techniques I use while using a grass trimmer. The biggest thing of which is not to get too close to the grass, or you'll just burn it right off. So there's a delicate balance point between how close and how far do you get it. Here I'm trying to show the weeds on the bricks that we eliminate by using boiling hot water. As you can see, I try to keep it just hovered over the grass and look at the grass. Just watch that grass and don't watch your trimmer. You just want to hover it above and go slow. And you can take out those weeds as well at the same time. It does take some practice, but that's what happens over the years. It's just knowing how to hold that weed trimmer, the grass trimmer there. Easy takes it, just hone it and put it on an angle. It's really all about balance, which I'll get into shortly. But if you have a good balance and your right arm's holding the weight and your left arm has the balance, it's easy to be able to hold it at the angle that you want if you want a beveled edge. Now, you could cut a straight edge, that's just a different angle of holding it. But if you really like that beveled corner, which I like, it's just about balancing your grass trimmer. Bringing it up to the corner here, looks good to me. We certainly like the manicured look around the garden borders, but it also prevents the grasses and weeds from growing in between the bricks. The little bits, the here and there, as I said before, you could kill off with hot water, and then they're so easy to pick out with a knife or a blade or something. Once you've killed your weeds and grasses, wait a couple of days. But something simple like hot water, you don't need all those weed killers, and it's bad. And here are the results. I like it, my wife likes it, and It doesn't take a whole lot of work. It's just not every time you cut the lawn, maybe every second or third time you cut the lawn. But it really helps to manicure it, make it look nice, rather than having grass and weeds growing anywhere they want to grow. As I've mentioned before, the ballast point on the grass trimmer is here, on that handle. You lock it in at a low point so that your left arm, if you're right-handed like I am, can hold the pivot point of the grass trimmer, like this. And so that your right arm is carrying the weight and your left arm is holding the angle. And then you can bring it up. See what happens? You're not at a correct angle. So you can also have it adjusted up and down the shaft depending on how tall or how short you are. That's just the way I like it. Technique is another thing. It's like shaving, I suppose. You're just hovering around the edges of these stones, just enough. You don't want to burn it, and you don't want to take it down too short, and have to wait another 2 weeks to have it grow on you. Wear safety boots and safety glasses if you have them, because if that grass trimmer picks up a stone, it'll be flying at a couple 100 miles an hour, and I'm sure you don't want it in your leg. This was also another area that was suffering and parched, but it's grown over the years. I keep the lawnmower at 2.5, 2 3/4 inches because the taller your grass, the deeper the roots, and the deeper the roots reach down to that water. If you haven't watered your grass in a while or there hasn't been a rain, tall grass is good for you. It also provides shade and chokes out the weeds. So don't be afraid to raise your lawnmower. Matter of fact, take it up even higher if you can. Tall grass, deep roots. On grass trimmers, you can buy a replacement cartridge for more money than it would take to wind your own line on your own cartridge. I like to wind my own line, then I can control how much I've got on there. But when the line hits stones, such as you see here, it will feed itself. Auto feeder grass trimmers are good and not so good. I like them. Well, my day is done and I'm cleaning up and coiling up the cord, which is all covered in knots and stuff because it's a plastic cord. I have a long rubber cord for the snowblower, but it's also quite heavy with a thicker gauge. And I love the evening light coming through the yard here.
I think you have really mastered your techniques.
I'm not a professional.
It's manicured and it complements the garden borders so well.
Mm-hmm. You once suggested I cut the back lawn shorter, and I think that was a good idea.
It's a good idea because it's so moist in the backyard. We never have to water it. And it always looks green.
Mm-hmm. We do have clover. I stopped struggling with it because I found out that it's a nitrogen fixer. Don't have lots of it, but I've just given up because it's not a bad thing. I used to use a 4-bladed mulching mower even still, but there's no dethatching required. I've never had to dethatch the lawn. Unfortunately, it kind of broke, and I bought a rechargeable 2-bladed mulching mower. It works quite well.
I think you've really overcame a lot of challenges and dealt with it very well with the various different crabgrasses that we've had.
Creeping Charlie.
Weeds. And I really appreciate the work that you do around the borders. I think it's a work of art.
Well, thank you. But I think, like with gardening, you learn as you go. If you're going to maintain something and have it look good, you certainly have to be educated about what you're doing. And your garden looks great with my great looking lawn. If you find this video useful in any way, please let us know and leave a comment. And thank you for watching.